Hello friends, welcome to my channel Tech Talk. Today we are going to discuss part 12 Input Decorator. Before proceed to this video, please watch the 11th part Custom Directive. I will share the link in description box. What is Input Decorator? Input is decorator and is used to define input property. Input decorator is used to pass data from parent component to child component. We need to import input decorator from @angular/core. If you want to use input decorator in your component, then you have to write first import input from @angular/core. To pass data from parent component to child component, you have to first define one property in your parent.component.ts. Here I have defined user details, which is of type user model. And in parent.component.html, we have written the selector for our child component. So you just need to pass this property as input to your child component. To pass input, you first write square bracket user details, close the square bracket. This user details is my input property name, equal to assign the component property to it. Then go to component.ts. Then first you have to import input from @angular/core. Then you write @input user details. This user details is my input property name, and this name should be same as that we have passed from our selector. Colon user model equal to new user model. This way we can define the input property. Let's move to practical part. First, here I will create the employee folder. Here I am going to show the employee list. So let's navigate to our employee folder. Here I am going to create the employee list component. So for this I am using ng generate component employee dash list. So it will generate component for me. Yeah, if we take look at this folder, employee folder, you can see employee list component gets added. Let's open this employee list component and we'll pin this component here. To define employee list, first I have to prepare the employee list in component.ts. So here I will define some property with name employee list, which is of any data type. Okay, and in ng on init, I'm going to assign some random data in my list. So I have code for it. So I will just copy this. I will paste here. So in employee list, here I'm going to add these 4 records. Now go to employee list.html. Here we have to iterate the employee list. We have to show this employee list in table format. So I have code for this as well. So I just copy to save our time. I will paste here. Here I have defined heading and added table tag. This is my table heading, first name, last name, gender, salary, and this is action. And in I'm using this component employee list and I'm iterating through this list to show the details of employee, first name, last name, gender, and salary. Okay, let's see the changes. Sorry, before going to run, you have to add employee list selector in your component.html, app.component.html. So I will add the selector in our component. So let's run this ng-serve. Let's open this URL. Here you can see our employee list gets rendered, first name, last name, gender, salary. Now I want to show the employee details on employee details component below this list, and I want this result when I click on this details button. Okay, So for this, first we will add the click event on this details button. So here I'm going to add click event equal to get details, and I'm passing this item to this method. We'll copy this and we'll create the same function in our employee list dot component. I will accept this parameter as employee any, and in this method I'm going to just assign this employee employee data to my property. So for this I will create another property with name employee details, which is of any data type, and in get details method, whatever I get it from my list, I will assign this to my employee details. Okay. Now I want to show these details on another component with name employee details. So for this I'm creating another component. So let's locate to our employee folder. Here I will create employee details component. Ng generate component employee details. Now if we look at the folder, you can see employee details folders get added and it has its component file. Let's open the employee details component in HTML also. Now we don't have anything on it. It is default code. Now when I click on this button, I am sending this item to component and I'm assigning this data to my employee details. Now I want to pass this employee details to my employee details component, that is my child component. So for this I will just copy the selector of my child component and I want to show it on below of my list. So I will just add here br tag and child component selector I will add here. Okay. Now I will pass this employee details as input property to our child component. So here square bracket, I will paste the same name equal to this my component property. We are passing this to our child component. We need to capture this input in our child component. So just go to employee details.component.ts. Here I will write @input. It's remain the same name employee details, which is of any data type. Okay. Now I want to show this employee details in my details component.html. For this I have some code, so I will just copy this code. Here I have added employee details heading, and in table tag in tr section I'm printing the one by one information: first name, last name, gender, and here salary. Okay, so let's run this. We'll see the changes. Okay, here I have to define some data to it. Oh, sorry. Any. Here also data type will be the same. Any. So if we look at the browser, here you can see our employee list gets rendered. When I click on this first record, then this first employee details gets rendered below this employee details. Let's see. This is my first employee. This is second employee, third, fourth. Yeah, like this way, you can send the data from parent component to this child component using input. That's it from this video. If you have any question, please contact me via this email or you can comment on this video. I will get back to you. Thank you. Happy learning.